So an NFL insider just revealed the Vikings timeline for naming a starting quarterback, but the weird thing about it is that it's almost the opposite of what Kevin O'Connell has said in the recent past. So in this video, we're going to parse through both KOC and Ian Rappaport's comments on the Vikings quarterback room, then we'll get to an injury update involving a key starter on defense, a mock trade that would send Jalen Carter to the Vikings, and more. But first... Alright, so Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network said yesterday that the Vikings quarterback battle between JJ McCarthy and Kyler Murray is expected to last throughout training camp, through all the preseason games, and right up to the start of the season. Well, my question is, where is he getting that information from? Because based on everything Kevin O'Connell has said about the competition this offseason, that almost sounds like the exact opposite of what he's led us to believe. KOC hasn't given an exact timeline, no dates or anything like that, but he has said multiple times that they have a plan in place to account for the quarterback battle having enough time to play out during camp, while also giving the eventual starter enough time to prepare for the season. And this is just me reading between the lines here, but most people expect Kyler Murray to be the week 1 starter, so even more so if that's the case, getting reps for him is crucial because it's his first year in the offense. And while KOC has said they're going to adapt some of the offense to fit his strengths, this is the most structure that Kyler is going to be playing in throughout his entire NFL career. Don't get me wrong, he's still going to use his legs and try to make plays, that's just who he is, but he's also going to be asked to sit back in the pocket at times and deliver some timing-based throws. So getting the timing down and building chemistry with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jawan Jennings, and TJ Hawkinson is very important, and with how NFL teams are so limited these days with how many training camp practices they're allowed to have and how long those practices can be, every rep truly does matter. It's why people who do have sources close to the team like Alec Lewis and Will Ragatz have said that what makes the most sense is if the Vikings were to name a starter sometime around the joint practices with the Ravens on August 19th and 20th. That would give them basically the entirety of training camp to battle it out, plus a preseason game on the 15th if they want to split reps for that preseason game. Then both joint practices with the Ravens as well. I think they could even come out of that first preseason game against the Giants on the 15th with an answer. Like, I don't think they need to take it into the joint practices, but if they do want to see it through those joint practices, it would give the starter roughly 3.5 weeks plus any reps they would want to give them in the preseason to prepare for the season. Is that enough time? I don't know, it's probably pushing it, which is why the joint practices feel like the cutoff date. And I definitely don't see a scenario like the one Ian Rappaport laid out, where Kyler and JJ split reps all throughout camp, and then all of preseason too, and the Vikings don't name a starter until days or maybe a week before the season opener. I think Rappaport either got some bad information or is just throwing stuff around baselessly, and if he is right, then I'll eat my words and turn my criticism towards Kevin O'Connell instead. But let me know what you guys think here. Are you buying what Rap Sheet is selling and that this thing is going to go all the way to right before the season starts? Or do you expect to see a decision made much sooner than that? Let me know either way in the comments below. And then from here, we've got to talk about the injury update involving linebacker Blake Cashman, because we finally know why he didn't participate in any of OTAs or minicamp this spring. We knew he was dealing with somewhat of an injury, but didn't know what. We didn't really have any details aside from that he was sidelined with an injury. Until yesterday, when Darren Wolfson reported that Blake is dealing with the finger issue, and apparently this is something that's been lingering from last season. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I don't remember seeing any injury reports last season where Cashman was listed with the finger. He had the hamstring that caused him to go on IR after week 1, then an elbow injury that he played through late in the season, but nothing about a finger to my knowledge. However, if you go back another year, Blake actually broke his pinky during a joint practice with the Browns in 2024. He had to get surgery on it and have screws inserted, then he actually re-aggravated it in week 5 of that season against the Jets in London, but he also suffered turf toe in that same game and ended up missing the next 3 games because of it. Didn't really have anything to do with the pinky, it was more so the toe. So that's the only documented finger injury I've seen for Blake Cashman during his time with the Vikings, but I'm not 100% sure if that's the same finger that's been giving him issues this offseason. I'm sure we'll find out more when training camp starts and we get to hear from the coaches and players, but either way, the good news here is that it sounds like it's fairly minor. Darren Wolfson said he is expected to be a full go at training camp, which means there shouldn't be any real concern about his status for week 1. Cashman is obviously a key piece along the defense. He wears the green dot and has led the team in tackles for the last 2 years despite missing 7 games over that stretch. So hopefully he can stay healthy throughout the course of the season, but for now, the good news is that he will be out there for training camp. Another linebacker I'm excited to see during camp is the rookie, Jake Golday. He's been putting in work this offseason with trainer Demetrius Charles of 101 Sports, who specializes in movement skills. So he released some footage of Jake Golday going through some different drills recently, and it made its way to Vikings Twitter, of course, where you had some people commenting and criticizing it. Some people were just saying that he looks stiff and not very fluid. And it's always funny to me when people criticize training videos like this because, for one, we have no idea what the goal of these drills are or if he's even supposed to be going full speed. They could be honing in on specific details, we have no idea. And while he didn't do any agility testing at the combine, I'm really not worried about Jake Golday's athleticism, to be honest. He ran a 4.6 240 and had a 39-inch vertical jump while weighing 240 pounds during the combine. His relative athletic score was a 9.85, which ranked 53rd among 3,500 linebackers since 1987. He may not have as much lateral quickness and start and stop speed, but that's why he's working on it. He's a hell of an athlete at the end of the day, and he's got a ton of potential in this Brian Flores defense. The athleticism alone isn't going to get it done for him though, and he knows that. He's got to pick up the defense and be able to play quickly and instinctively, but he's definitely got a great foundation when it comes to his size and athleticism, and the fact that he's got one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL coaching him up. I don't know how much run Golday is going to get as a rookie, but hopefully he plays a decent amount of snaps, probably primarily as an off-ball linebacker, then maybe he's rushing off the edge at times as well, which is something he did a little bit in college. He did play defensive end. If the Vikings don't go out and add another veteran edge rusher before the season, then we probably will see him rotate along the edge at times, or maybe that's more of Ty Ingram Dawkins, who's going to be another versatile piece along the defense. But if the Vikings really wanted to beef up their pass rush this offseason, there's a recent mock trade floating out there that would be a game changer for them, to be honest. The problem is there's a couple major setbacks preventing it from happening. This is a hypothetical trade from Winston Wilcox of Fansided, who threw together a proposal where the Vikings would send a 2027 second and a 2027 fifth round pick to the Eagles in exchange for Jalen Carter. And I'm sure a lot of you are thinking what I initially thought when I saw this. There is no way the Eagles would agree to this, and what's funny is, the title of this article is Realistic Jalen Carter Trade Packages That These Teams Could Overwhelm Philly With. I don't think that's overwhelming anybody. They're probably getting laughed off the phone if they offered that. On one hand, I get why some would think Jalen Carter's value could be down after last year if you just looked at his stats alone. He did have a down year on paper with a career-low 3 sacks, but the reason why is because he dealt with shoulder injuries for pretty much the entire season. He actually underwent a procedure on both shoulders in December, and overall he missed 6 games in 2025. And yes, one of them technically was the Week 1 incident where he spit on Dak Prescott and got ejected before the first play from scrimmage, but either way, yes, he missed 6 games and played through injuries, so 2025 is not the best year to judge him on. If you look at his first 2 seasons though, he was 4th in pressures among interior defensive linemen with the 4th highest pass rush grade. His rookie year, he had a 19% pass rush win rate, which is among the top players in the league, even including edge rushers. He's one of the most disruptive players in the NFL, and the fact that he's just 25 years old, plus with the way the defensive tackle market has skyrocketed recently, I just don't see the Eagles parting ways with him for anything less than a first. So I don't think this makes a ton of sense for Philly, and while on paper, yeah, I would love to add Jalen Carter to the Vikings defense and pair him up with Caleb Banks, Jalen Redmond, and Dominique Orange, I'm not sure the Vikings would even be able to afford him long term. I mean, this year, sure, he's only got a $7 million cap hit, but that jumps to $27 million in 2027, and that's also the last year of his rookie deal, so then you're looking at extending him, and he's probably going to want top of market money, which right now is $35 million APY, but it's going to be even higher in 2027. Meanwhile, the Vikings have a lot of other players to worry about, like Jordan Addison, Brian O'Neill, Jalen Redmond, and potentially Kyler Murray if he plays his way into a new contract. The reason they traded Jonathan Grenard to Philly in the first place was for financial reasons, so while I would love to see Jalen Carter in the middle of the Vikings D-line, I don't see it happening for 2 reasons. The Eagles are going to want way too much in return, and the Vikings can't afford him long term. Plus, we have Jalen Carter at home. His name is Caleb Banks. But seriously though, there are some similarities between them. They're both athletic freaks for their size. Jalen Carter, he's 6'3", 314 pounds. Caleb Banks is even bigger though, 6'6", 327 pounds. And he's got some massive arms. His wingspan is 7 feet 1.75 inches, which for the NFL is the longest wingspan recorded at the Combine since 1999. Brian Flores called him a rare type of player because of his arms, which are going to come in handy to create leverage against offensive linemen, but on top of that, the ability to bat down passes at the line of scrimmage. It only seems natural that he'd excel at batting down passes, right? Well, the interesting thing here is that he only batted down 1 pass during his time in college, so even though he's got the physical tools, this is something that's going to need to be coached. And I do think Brian Flores is up for that challenge, though. I mean, just look at the defense from last year. The Vikings had 3 different players in the top 15 in terms of batted down passes at the line of scrimmage. Jalen Redmond had 4, which was tied for 14th. Andrew Van Ginkel had 5, tied for the 8th most. And believe it or not, but Hitman Harrison Smith was tied for the 2nd most in the league with 6. Now, we don't know if Harry is coming back or not, but either way, we know Redmond and Van Ginkel are going to be up front, and if Flores can unlock Caleb Banks a bit and have him swatting down passes at the line, I don't see any reason why the Vikings can't be among the top teams in batted down passes this year. But that's all I've got for you guys in today's video, so be sure to give me your thoughts on Ian Rappaport's comments on the quarterback competition, the Jalen Carter mock trade, plus everything else I talked about in today's video. And until next time, Skol, baby!